Pollution off the west coast has always been an issue, but it's now been thrown into sharper focus with a leak from a sewage outfall pipe here on the jetty on Peel Beach, and with the local MHK, Ray Harmer. First of all, what's the issue here?
Well, a leak has been found just a short way from here, and it's about an inch in width, and basically we now need divers to go in and investigate and fix the problem.
Now there is a delay with that, isn't there? They were supposed to go in at the start of this week. It's now going to be next week at the earliest. What's caused that?
That's right. If for some reason they don't have the divers which they should have and the ones that we were promised, and now we're having to wait longer to get this problem resolved.
Now, this was a major issue for you on your manifesto, wasn't it? You've just been elected as MHK. What are people saying about this in the town?
They're deeply worried. I think there's a number of people, as I went round the doors, and some children that, to be honest, had unexplained illnesses and things like that. You know, it's not healthy, it's not right, and that's why we need a treatment plant as soon as possible.
Now, I think one of the problems has been that people just haven't been notified of what's happened. Yes. We weren't notified of the leak initially, then told to exercise caution, however you do that when you're paddling in the sea. So that's quite an issue. Who is responsible for letting the public know?
Well, that would be obviously Manx Utilities, and for some reason they hadn't informed the local people here and the commissioners or myself until very, very, very late, and obviously that's too late. And obviously it needs to be fixed as soon as possible. And
in terms of monitoring water quality, who's responsible for that?
That's also the Manx Utilities, and you know, obviously they're doing it to 76 standards, but my argument has always been that it needs to be to the latest standards, 2006 standards. And I think we've really got to be very careful with people's health, and we mustn't just sort of assume everything is okay. And I think that has been the problem here, that we don't take this issue seriously enough. This, in my view, is a national issue. It's a national beach. It is the beach that everybody comes to at a weekend, and really we need to resolve this as soon as possible.
So we have this short-term issue that, as you say, needs resolving. What about long-term?
Well, yeah, this is long-term, very important. This is a long-term issue, but the things that we now need to get done, we need to get the environmental study, feasibility study for a sewage treatment plant. We need to get that underway. We need to get funding. We need a proper, irreversible commitment. We can't keep going back and forward and hiding our heads in the sand and then hoping it will go away and then we can look at it in 10 years. This is really a serious issue, you know, not just for Peel but for our nation, and we want to see tourism improve and increase, but while we're still putting raw sewage in our sea, we're not seeing that. Instead we're seeing a health hazard.
And it's one of the most beautiful beaches in the Isle of Man, this one, isn't it? It's one of the most attractive, and yeah, as you say, just out there's raw sewage going into the sea.
Absolutely. I think anywhere in the British Isles you just wouldn't be having this conversation. You only have to look over here with the castle, with the beautiful setting. Peel is an amazing and beautiful place. It's a real gem in the island, and that's why so many people come here at weekends and during the week and for holidays. But at the moment we've got this terrible problem, and I think the politicians need to take it very, very seriously, and they need to act now and not kick it into the ground and talk about 2019, 2026. We need to get the studies, we need to understand and design and plan, and we need to do that now.
And you're in the House of Keys now, you're in the best position to help do that.
Yes, absolutely, and I'll be putting pressure on and asking questions to the Manx Utilities head and really saying, look, you know, you've said there's a proposal, you've said you want to move forward. Now we all agree that we must move forward. It's a national issue. Let's get it happening. Well,
one slightly confusing issue is that the Manx Utilities said that the water quality here was good, then it was poor because of the leak, but now they say it's back to good again.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's very, very confusing. And to be honest, we've always had a little bit of concern about how the testing is done. But remember, of course, it is to 76 standards and not to the latest, you know, standards. And it can miss all sorts of bugs and bacteria in the sea. So really, we need to move to a better testing regime.
And people will be asking the question now, is it safe to let my child paddle?
Well, exactly, and I'd be very worried, and that's the sort of question I've heard. I've also heard that divers don't even go here anymore to dive around the castle, which would be an amazing thing to do. But they're just worried, and to be honest, there is a lack of confidence even in the results.